Assembly District. He's been in the Assembly since 2006. He's a union brother from the UAW out of Janesville. And he's always there, help us with our issues. He's always there for his constituents, fighting for them, and making sure they're getting a fair shake. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Andy Jorgensen from the 43rd Assembly District.
Well, good morning. I am Andy Jorgensen, and yes, I am a union brother. UAW Local 95. I was a shop steward. I came off the assembly floor. That's not normally what happens around here. And I ran for office, and gosh, I won the first time. I was the first Democrat in over 60 years to win in my area of the state. It was quite an accomplishment. I didn't know what was happening at the time. I just went out, did my thing, and I won. And I want to thank you for being here. As I understand it, some people took off today because of the weather. So you are the hardcore group. You're my crowd. So thanks for staying, and I just appreciate it. I just want to give you a little overview. I also serve as the caucus chair for the Democrats in the Assembly. And so what that means is I run the Assembly caucuses before we go out on the floor. We talk about the bills we're going to have up, and then I do a lot of the talking on the floor and debate with Republicans when they want to talk, but most times they don't. Because they're very proud of what they're doing. And a lot of cases, they don't even know what they're doing. And that's not a joke. If you would have asked a lot of them what right to work was and what they were doing, I don't think they were going to be able to explain it to you. They didn't know. They just did what they were told. There's an old saying, I love this saying, it's old, but it's true. Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line. And that's what happens in the Capitol. Their agenda is one that makes no sense to a regular working man or woman in our state. Firing Kevin Kennedy, the head of the GAB, is that going to put food on the table? Is that going to get you a better job? Is that going to make tomorrow brighter? No. Making it so that politicians can't get John Doe investigated anymore. Is that going to help the regular guy or lady? Absolutely not. But these are the things that happened in our state capitol. Changing campaign laws. So you can give me double the money you were able to last time. And that corporations can give unlimited amounts, undisclosed amounts of cash to my campaign. Is that going to help? Absolutely not. But as we watch on this Super Tuesday, it doesn't feel so super to me, I don't know, but we see that people have a lot of anger. And they're trying to direct it to a crazy billionaire right now, and thinking that's going to be the answer to all of our problems. It's going to probably make them worse. And so we've got to be able to talk to our friends and neighbors, and we've got to tell them that bills like I have are going to create a better tomorrow for people, working men and women. A bill that I have is called Made in America. And it simply says when we put up a road or a bridge and we buy those materials, we buy them from America. What a crazy idea that was. But you know what? That idea went down by party lines this last time. And that would create a better tomorrow for our friends and neighbors, our brothers and sisters. Because when you keep the money here in America, it puts people back to work. It helps the small businesses involved. It keeps it right here, but we see a trend in America where a lot of states are spending money overseas with China and beyond, and that money goes to help them create jobs. We can't do that. And so that's why I, as a legislator, and we as Democrats, we had a bill this time around that was going to say enough. We got to keep that money here. It's a very simple bill, and in years past, I've been in the legislature, as Ivan pointed out, since 2006. Things like that didn't always used to be party line votes. They didn't always fall that way. But today they do. And there's an agenda out there, folks, that has nothing to do with Wisconsin. It has everything to do with some people from far away with lots of money being able to have fun with our state and dictate what happens. Because we're upon an election season right now, and those folks that took those votes, bad votes in my opinion, they don't want the campaign cash. They look at it that way. And that's so sad. Instead of doing what they're supposed to do, and that's listening to their friends and neighbors. Now me, if you live in my district, I have listening sessions all the time. Because I don't subscribe to this agenda from far, far away, from some think tank that I have never heard of. I listen to my friends and neighbors, and that's where I get my ideas, and that's where I get my bills, hopefully to become law. That's where I'm listening all the time. I've had hundreds of listening sessions, and that doesn't mean that they're with people that just I know are going to agree with me. No. I love talking with someone that comes from a different point of view, and we sit down and we work it out. We don't always agree on the subject we're talking about, but we do find that middle ground, and that's what we're supposed to do here in Madison. And we don't. We're one of the most polarized states in America. But we've got to start working on some of these things. Governor Walker has got to come to the table. Thank God he isn't running for president anymore. But it doesn't seem to be getting any better now that he's back. He doesn't want to listen and want to break bread with the other side. He doesn't have to. Think about it. The Republicans have both houses. They have the Assembly, they have the Senate, and they have the governorship, they have the Supreme Court, they have the Attorney General. They can run the table. Why would they listen to us? But elections are like that. We always hear about that pendulum. That pendulum is wiggling. And hopefully we'll start going back. Just broke the microphone. And hopefully it'll come back someday. But we've got to do it with good ideas. We've got to do it with educating our friends and neighbors about what our issues are and what the answer is, and finding that middle ground that the Republicans cannot deny, even though they have all control. But here's what I don't like hearing, is I don't like hearing people say, when I tell them, they come to me and they go, Andy, this is wrong and this is wrong. And then they go, what are you going to do about it? And I say, well, where do you come from? And they go, I'll just pick a place, Sheboygan. I say, you need to get a hold of your representative and your senator. And they go, they don't listen to me. Well, you just let them win. That's not an answer. It's not a good answer at all. You have got to get a relationship, whether you like the person or not. They are your representative. And there are things you can do about that. If you write them a letter, if you meet with them on a consistent basis, if you're always in their ear, things will eventually happen. If you're not the only one doing it, that number grows, you will create change. It will happen. If, let's say, that they don't get back to you, they don't write a letter back, they don't call you back, is that the end of that? No. You keep calling, and if that doesn't happen, then you write a letter to the editor. And you expose them for what they are. Now that cuts both ways. Nobody, Republicans, Democrats, beyond, they don't like hearing that a representative, a senator, doesn't call anybody back. That means that they're not doing their job. So if that's what you got in your hands, then you've got something you can work with. And you ought to be doing it. Otherwise, here's one worse. Well, I just won't vote. Now, the good news is, I heard today on the way in that people who are against Trump and he gets in, their answer is not to vote for a Democrat or anybody else. Their answer is to not vote. I like that. That to me is a good answer. Let's leave that one alone. But for our side, we need to be better at that. How many times, we may do well in this election season. We usually do as Democrats for presidentials. But then the non-presidential, then we fall all apart again because our side doesn't get out and vote. Enough is enough. This has got to stop. And that's the reason we can't get enough traction to do it. Now, the Republicans have done everything they can to keep that trend alive. And it comes in the form of voter ID. Okay, and where you fall on that, I'm not here to debate it. It's law. But what we got to do is we have got to tell our friends and neighbors that this is something that they're going to have to deal with at the polling place. They're going to have a license. They're going to have one if they haven't driven in years. They're going to have to go to the DMV and get an ID so they can vote. This is going to come as a shock to a lot of people on election day. And we can't allow that. We've got to start talking about this now. We got to start saying, Grandma, do you have a form of ID? And she's going to look at you like you're nuts. And then you're going to have to say, you need one to vote this time. You're going to have to help her with that. Because if she doesn't have it, she can't vote, or she'll have a provisional vote, and that one doesn't count. Unless you run around and get all of her IDs then. Let's do our due diligence and get that done, because there are a lot of people, especially in my district, that aren't online on thinking about this yet. They just don't, it hasn't come to, We need to start visiting folks in the nursing homes, and life is going to be different for them. In a lot of cases, they're not going to come to them anymore to allow them to vote. They're going to need a ride. They're going to need to get this ID and everything else. So we need to start talking about this now to stay ahead of this, because it's all part of the plan by the Republicans to death by 1,000 cuts, to make our side not get out and vote. For instance, you can't vote on the Monday before the election. And here's a good one for you. What's the reason for that? There wasn't one. They just didn't. Again, comes from this think tank far, far away. And they were told that this will help in the grand scheme of things, and it is a scheme. So you can't vote the Monday before an election. So things like that are different than they used to be. You can't vote on weekends anymore in our state. You used to be able to do that. There's devious reasons for that, but they always are talking about fraud. There are no cases of fraud that they can show me. That'd be different. I'd like to talk more about trying to fix a problem that actually exists, if that were the case, but that ain't the case. There isn't any, other than Charlie Sykes talking about some black vans pulling up and he not knowing who they are at the polling place. But that's about it. So we've got to stick together. This is an important election. It's one we cannot afford to lose. People ask, are you for Bernie or for Hillary? I'm for a Democrat in the White House. Because we have got to make sure that we have one there. As we see the Supreme Court fight already on Justice Scalia's open seat, is something that there could be two more in this next presidency. We've got to have someone on our side in that White House. Otherwise, it's going to get, can you imagine, even bleaker for us. But on the state front, we have got so much work to do. We are at 37th in job creation. We are 49th in economic outlook. We are 50th, dead last, when it comes to entrepreneurship. New business, exciting new businesses, the new mousetrap. It ain't being made here in Wisconsin. Think about it, dead last. I put it in different terms so it really sinks in. Mississippi has got more going on in entrepreneurship than Wisconsin right now. That's embarrassing. So we've got to start expecting more of the people that represent us, get to know the people that represent you, whether they're on your side or not. Let them know what's important to you. Let them know that you're watching. And that will go a long, long way in creating the change that we need. So I want to just say thank you for always being there in support of me. I really appreciate it. I've been one of the louder voices when it comes to labor. It's one of those that labor is taking quite a hit in our state. But again, that pendulum is going to come back someday. And we got to make sure it comes back right. But we got to start fighting for it. We got to start fighting for it now. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Solidarity.
Houston, like when we come up with or you came up with a bill for Buy American or Buy Wisconsin, you know, it gets shot down or whatever. When does any Democrat or anyone that's for these things in the Russell Ball stand up there in front of the media and go like, this is why we can't get it through? And you know, you guys have to stage. But everyone goes like a bunch of marching balls, it's like, oh, the Republicans won't let us, so we'll just go away. You guys gotta lead, people will follow. We put in our locals, we try to back you, but we get no backing except here, but there's nothing up on the hill. I've said this in Washington, I've said it here. You guys ain't got no balls, get something. Stand up for something, even if it's wrong. Stand up for something.
And we do. Well, I'll tell you what, I can't promise you your TV camera will be there. And so that you're going to be able to hear it. I can shake my fist all day long in the Capitol, but if nobody's there to show it and amplify it and get it on the media, I can't do anything about it.
Look how many cameras Trump's got. Say the right words, get the right people.
I'm not a billionaire, sir. I don't have a reality show. I mean, it comes down to a lot of things like that. I mean, I don't want to stand here and give you excuses, but this is the reality of the different rules in the Capitol that I have to live by. I don't get to command TV crews to come and watch me and shake my fist, and I do. And we have brought that forward. And we do have media availabilities, and nobody comes. So we're in the minority. We're not in the majority. We don't write the schedule. We don't write most of the bills that become law. We have our bills that we have, and I'm here today to tell you about this bill, and I do it wherever I go. Ivan knows that. That's something I do. It's one of the things I always talk about. What more can I do? If you wanted to parachute out of a plane, I'll consider it. But I mean, we got to figure out how we're going to get the attention of other people. It's not as easy as it looks. Some people have the key to do that, but we as a minority party in the state capitol, we're down to 30 seats. Nobody listens to us on the Republican side, and on the media side, we have a hard time getting their attention as well. It's just the way it is.
You gotta do something to get their attention.
Okay.
Get around to people to fight America. I know you can.
Yep, thanks a lot.